Scott Kajewski, Fairway Mortgage, here to help you, your clients, from start to finish, quickly, efficiently, and also they'll help you navigate this challenging market and challenging times with everything that's been going on. So here to help you grow your business however I can, 630-418-0829.
My name is Sean Robertson. I'm a real estate and estate planning attorney, and we concentrate in real estate and estate planning. We have over 50 years of title insurance experience. Call us at 630-780-1034. Gateville Law Firm, Sean Robertson.
My name is Joe Madrano, mortgage loan officer with Loan Depot. I strive to be your trusted brand when it comes to anything mortgage. My goal is to provide your clients with timely and relevant information so they can make powerful and informed decisions about their mortgage strategy. I'm also here to help you close more successful and happy transactions that will result in clients wanting to refer more business back to you.
Loan Depot is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 1055063.
Hello, Carol Fisher here with White Glove Building Inspections. We've been in business since 1990. We offer all the services you may need, both for residential and commercial. So give us a call. Let's make an informed decision here. Make it great.
Are you a realtor considering taking a break or retiring from the real estate business? It's important to ensure that your license remains active and in compliance.
Here at John's Real Estate Holding and Referral Network, we can help you with that. Please reach out to us at 815-355-4978 for any questions.
Hi, I'm Megan Wentland, your dedicated partner in the mortgage lending industry. With over 10 years of experience and a spot in the top 1% of mortgage originators, my experience is not only in lending, but building long-term successful partnerships. You can follow me on social media at Megan Wentland, listen in on my podcast at Mortgage Mom Wines, or reach out to me anytime at 708-904-1414.
Hello, Scott Seaton here, SLS Home Inspections, the home inspector with a heart. What's new? Well, I'll tell you what's new. SLS Home Inspections is now doing radon testing and sewer scope along with our regular great standard visual home inspection. Call today or schedule online at slshomeinspections.com, 815-644-6271. Have a great day.
Hi everyone. Angle Drone Solutions provides both aerial and ground-based photo and video services. Whether you need videos for your social media or pictures for your MLS listing, we have a solution for you. Give us a call at 630-605-3267.
Ray Manuel here with National Title Solutions, proud affiliate with Three Rivers Association. Don't forget, I'm here for your refis and your purchases. Call your title guy.
I'm Mike Montgomery with Kind Lending. I have many years of experience to take a very personal approach with every client to protect their interests and your commissions. We offer all the traditional and many non-traditional mortgage products. Give me a call, 630-973-6911.
Del Johns.
Hello.
Del in his purple is going to dazzle us here today.
He's wearing purple because he's a Ravens fan who are 1-3.
You didn't have to add that last part. Go Bears, you're absolutely right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Del Johns, co-owner of Johns Real Estate Services with my wife. Also managing broker for Johns Real Estate Home Services Holding Company. I also do taxes for H&R Block. So one of the things that I've noticed over the years when realtors come in, that they come in pretty much unprepared. They'll come in with their 1099. No?
You mean like a scratch sheet?
Yeah. Well, what do you mean by? So I took the liberty of making a list of all the tax deductible items that you can go through. So most of them MLS dues, business meals. Business meals this year are 50% of the total. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. 50%. License fees, subscriptions, association fees, Three Rivers, NAR, IAR, marketing materials. Anything you use for marketing that's tax deductible. Property signs, conventions, seminars, and here's the big one. So this has been a change from, it's going to be a change from year to year anyway, but the vehicle mileage / vehicle depreciation, the mileage rate is 70 cents per mile. Yeah. Yeah, nice. So you have postage, office supplies, office equipment, legal fees if you have to get an attorney for anything, payments for lead generation, payments for software. So any software you use, especially to keep track of mileage and the bookkeeping and things like that, all that is tax deductible. Desk fees, business cards, a portion of your phone bill, and a portion of your Wi-Fi. So what they do is they look at how you use the Wi-Fi and the phone in your business. So if you got a phone that you use for everything, you have to say, hey, 30% of it is for business, and they used to give you that deduction. Tax prep. So all you guys are sole proprietors, independent contractors. So when you have that Schedule C done, which we'll go to in a minute, your tax prep, the cost of that business portion of your tax prep is tax deductible going forward. Client gifts. IRS says $25 per client per year. That's it.
Just a question on that.
Okay.
Well, is the man in the room? Do we gotta worry about the IRS showing up? The way that I personally get around that a little bit is $25 is for the gift, but if it's other marketing materials and things that have your name on it.
It's branding.
Then it's branding, marketing materials, correct?
Yeah, so.
It just wouldn't go within that category.
Right, so all this is predicated on the IRS coming to see you. If you do things in the right way, they should never want to see you. They'll skip over you. Commission.
Just put your name, branding, and everything, it's all.
It's actually true.
Yes.
That's how it, you know.
If it's branded
Right.
with her name, then yes, it's
You
Right,
guys can, I can't.
Well, it becomes advertising or marketing materials. So education, training, the seminars you go to, health insurance, if you pay your own health insurance, it's tax deductible. Tolls and parking, and like I said, the Wi-Fi bill. You go to that second page, this is a Schedule C. So if you have a CPA or you do your own taxes, this is what the base, the IRS form looks like. And if you look in Part 2, it'll have all the things that you can expense. Advertising, car and truck expenses, commission and fees, skip, insurance, interest, legal and professional fees.
Can you talk about depreciation, the mileage versus gas?
I'm going to get to that. That's, yeah. Office expenses, if you rent or lease equipment, repairs and maintenance, taxes and licenses, travel, meals, if you go out, keep track of your mileage, we're going to talk about that, and deductible meals. So like I said, it's 50%. You know, you spend $100, you can deduct 50% on your tax return. And on the back, there is Part 5, other expenses. So that's where you can put down anything that's not covered on the front. So like personal gifts, ISAC, anything you use, software, anything like that. All right, so the standard mileage rate is 70 cents per mile for business use. And you can use the standard mileage rate or the actual expense method, which deducts gas, maintenance, insurance, registration, and depreciation based on business use percentage. You'll work out much better at 77 cents a mile. You guys put in a lot of miles. Depreciation. So depreciation takes the value of the car, and each year you can deduct a percentage of it until it's fully deducted. The thing with depreciation is once it's fully deducted, you can't get standard mileage again. You're done. You're done with that vehicle unless you buy a new vehicle. So
One or the other.
I take standard mileage. We always say take standard mileage first. That way you can go to a depreciation situation. But if you take depreciation in the beginning, you got to depreciate it the whole time, the whole 4 years.
Now, a question, if you depreciate a vehicle and then when you sell it, does that have any effect?
Yeah.
I did the truck driver, so I hear his side of it, you know what I mean? Like, he's like,
Right.
well, now I have to, say, hey, I sold it for this much.
Right,
And
and it's for lack of a better term, it's recouping the value. You depreciated it for $17,000, then you sold it. Now you have a $17,000 profit per se. So you have to recoup or report a gain if you have a sale, a profitable sale.
And it's a recapture, but it's a capital gain.
Recapture, you got it.
So like you're deducting, if you're depreciating in the early years, you're having to offset against income, which income rates are higher. And then when you do recapture, it's actually a capital gain. So that's a lower tax rate. So
It is.
it's convoluted, but it's better than not doing it at all, but the mileage is much better.
It is.
I'm gonna go back to the money.
It is. Take the mileage. But he brought up something interesting in, what you said with the capital gains. The capital gains rates, a lot of people get scared of them, but they're actually lower than your income rate. Yeah. So that's a good point. Yes. 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 Home office deduction. So this has come up a couple of times. We all have offices in our homes or some office space. You can do the simplified method. It's $5 per square foot up to 300 square foot. No more. And you can also do the actual method. So what that entails is you take the total square footage of your home, and then you take the square footage of your office, divide it, you'll get a percentage, and then that percentage applies to your mortgage interest, your rent, utilities, insurance, and all the costs in keeping the house up. So if you paint for $100 and 10% of it's for your business, you get $10. Entertainment, license renewals, tax preps. One thing, and insurance. So under the insurance, you can deduct errors and omission, business liability, and health insurance premiums if you pay them yourself. And you're not covered by an employer plan. So if your spouse has an employer plan and you're covered under it, you probably can't take the insurance premiums. And another one that kind of catches people is the self-employment tax. That'll get you every time. So anything over $400, you're subject to the self-employment tax. The self-employment tax is 15.3% of your income. Half of that is deductible. And the reason for that is in a W-2 situation, the employer pays half, the employee pays the other half. In a 1099 situation, you're paying both sides, the employer and the employee. So when you go to do your taxes, you can take half of it because you are the employer. Doesn't make sense, does it?
Why don't you get the full?
Exactly, exactly. It's like, why don't you just say half? But this is the way they do it. And rent and utilities, office rent, internet and phone. You can take those deductions. And so one of the things and you're still, because you're self-employed, you're all entitled to the QBI deduction. It's 20%. QBI. Qualified Business Income Deduction. So remember the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017? The major corporations were given a 20% decrease in their taxes owed. There was an uproar. So now for the small businesses, the sole proprietor, the LLC, anything like that, you get what they call a QBI deduction, and it's equivalent to 20%. And so pretty much done here, but what I did want to say is please keep your records, your receipts. Don't come in going, well, I think I drove, 5,000 miles. I think I was, I think I paid like $300 or, keep track of it. Keep track of it. My wife is an excellent record keeper. If you need help, call her.
I charge. As you should. Because it's not fun. I mean, it really is not fun. No matter how much you think you're organized, at the end you're panicking, you're rushing, you're missing files. And realtors, they lose a lot of deductions. There's a lot of deductions that you don't take because you may have forgotten to put a file together. We keep all our business deductions separately from our personal. And if you forget to print a receipt or something like that, create a folder in your email or something, print these at the end of 2025. Because otherwise, when you go through, you realize you have missed a lot of deductions. Granted, you could take it another year, but there's so many missed opportunities that realtors don't take on.
And one of the other things, the IRS has decided that they will accept digital receipts and printouts. If you got a credit card that you use exclusively for gas, for business, you can use that printout as proof. And you only need that proof if they call you up. But if you go to a new tax preparer, they'll probably say, hey, could you show me, in that initial interview, could you show me this? Could you show me that? But once they get to know you, they'll go, here's a realtor. They're going to have mileage.
And like she said, like you said, use one credit card, start a business bank account.
Yep.
Have it just separated, because then you're not trying to pick through, you're not trying to, could you explain from just when someone should, become an entity?
I do, how did I know you was gonna ask that? So which entity are you interested in?
Whatever it is, to start an LLC, to make a selection, whatever it is.
Right.
What point do you think that's worth it, like an income point?
LLC is worth it, hands down. Every one of you should be an LLC, in truth. Because that protects your personal possessions, your house, your car, and things like that. And there's no big difference. When you go to do your tax returns, you're going to fill out a Schedule C. When you're an LLC, sole proprietor, you're still going to fill out a Schedule C.
Do you know what the difference is between it and an S corp?
So.
That's the S election. That's right. I was like,
So the S corp you can be taxed as an S corp, but now you go into, you have to have officers, you have to have meetings, and you have to pay yourself a reasonable salary.
But you can write that salary off.
The dividends, the distribution.
I was an S corp for years, and
Mhm.
so technically, like when you're an independent contractor on a Schedule C,
Mhm.
all of that income, you take all your deductions, and then you have your taxable income at the end of that. But when
Right.
you would start an S corp, then you can salary yourself.
Right.
Technically, your salary is a write-off on your S corp because you're
On the S corp,
employee of-
not on your personal, on your S corp.
So
Yeah.
you salary yourself
Yeah.
out of your S corp,
Right.
and then you can write that off.
Right,
You know,
right. But the thing with an S corp, excuse me, the thing with an S corp is now you have a bigger filing requirement. You have to file a 1120S, and that could be, $600.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, a lot of people say if you're getting close to 100,000, then that's when it's, I mean, would you, in income, would you agree of when it's worth it because of the benefits to make an S election?
Yeah, if you're making quite a bit of money doing it. But like I said, the LLC provides the most basic protection you can have, and you don't have to have other people involved if you don't want.
And there's a special election for the
There you
healthcare
go.
insurance piece.
Oh.
So if you're looking at where it says insurance other than health, part 2, line 15 of the Schedule C, says other than health. If you're an S corp owner or you're a sole proprietor, either way, and you're paying your own health insurance, you'll see that on your Schedule 1. So that'll be on your personal return. Even if you're an S corp owner, there's a little pass-through just for healthcare insurance premium.
Right.
So both for you now, or if you're doing S corp elections, it'll hit Schedule 1, not Schedule C.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
I have a burning one, but I don't know if is the tax man in here or not. So, an S corp, this is when you have employees and meetings. So this is when people bring on either actual teammates or family members and go on trips and write it off.
Go on trips.
Because you have to take your flights. So say, okay, so I have my business LLC and then there's the Realtor LLC. If this was in an S corp, if I'm understanding this correctly, does this mean you have to have employees? Or is this when people are taking family members? No. I've heard if you start to pay your children, if you start to pay your children as employees under, like if you have jobs, whatever that is, then you also need to have meetings and show documentation of how that actually works. So is that a real idea, or is that?
That's real.
It's a real idea.
Your incorporation papers, you have to incorporate as an S corp. Yeah.
You're drawing like straight fraud now. But no, like.
No, I know what you're
over here.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, you make your meeting, like if you have these people, whether they're doing, not Disney World, but I don't think Disney World would pass.
We're on
But
a
like if
cruise.
it was a legitimate spot.
Right.
So this is completely fraud, my question? Absolutely insane, or are they structured this way?
I'm sure it happens, but.
Complete fraud or just partial?
But I need a real answer.
So, an S corp says you have to have partners, you have to have a.
Can I go to Disney World?
You can if you've got a legitimate business purpose for your travel, it is tax deductible.
Well, because there are, sometimes it's usually like.
No, sometimes, no.
I just don't know, I'm not sure when there's LLCs right now, I'm not sure even how that is for us. In the alley. All right, I'm gonna go to the alley.
I'm not gonna say in here what I do.
You've heard that though, or do people say that to you? Like, how do I structure this with all of them? Who are my employees? How many employees would you need to have that set up? So
One, which is yourself.
So there's different legal entities.
Right.
And then how do those legal entities file their taxes?
Right.
So you can have a sole proprietor and you're just filing your regular tax return.
Right.
You can file an LLC and
Right.
it could be just everything pours through to your regular tax return,
Right.
a 1040. Or you could elect to be an S corp
Right.
And that's just how does that LLC file for tax purposes? Are you having it just everything kicked out via 1099, or are you gonna do a business S-corp tax return?
Yeah.
That you're gonna have a Form K-1 that gets things over to your personal return, or not? How much of that is salary and is subject to ordinary taxes, or how much of that is profits? And that's where you can get a little bit more creative. And I don't mean,
Here we go.
you can say, okay, my reasonable salary is blank, because that's what a reasonable salary would be for this role.
Right.
And then I'm gonna make a profits distribution of myself
Yeah.
Right.
without having to pay payroll tax on that.
But
Or
you have to
SE
pay
tax.
tax.
Right.
But
But not
you're dodging part of the tax burden.
Right, but you're setting yourself up for paperwork.
For an
But no,
Well, my children really do make money and work in our, they really do work in our business.
Okay.
So at what
Okay.
point, they do fix computers,
They fix
right,
our
and
computers and stuff,
websites,
you know.
and then I have some that do like some rental work and some demo and moving some things around, so they're paid.
Right.
But then it's under the table, it's cash from us. I just wondered at what point do I like make this make sense?
make it a real thing. Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
When
sorry.
you're making consistent
one more.
profit over.
Oh, shoot.
When the children.
That went
or when
fast.
I am.
Okay.
I would say you consistently, if you're making 200,000 every year instead of, 2024, you
Oh.
200,000, 2025, you would make 175. In 2026, you could make, 100. So
Yeah.
I would say it's if you consistently see yourself going up from year to year.
Right.
In real estate, we fluctuate so much.
My
And-
real estate fluctuates, but construction is pretty
Construction, yeah.
consistent.
And speaking of fluctuation, I have one last minute here. This is the more important thing, I think. You can pay estimated taxes on your 1099 income. And that will keep you out of a whole lot of hot water. And it's so easy. It really is.
You need to go see the hood account.
I've been fired too. Those make me nervous, you know, when you step in, this girl.
So thank you guys for listening. Oh,
No, don't get nervous. I was just gonna say, I have a software for tracking called RealtyZam that I really like because it's real estate focused. And you can link it with your business credit card and it downloads the transactions right into the software. And then I just go through and categorize them and it does it every week. So I just go through, I categorize my, whatever I've charged on that card. And then you can literally, inside the software, attach the receipt in a PDF form. And then all you do every quarter is just like.
you guys are geniuses,
All you do is print it out.
but I keep it on paper.
You showed your age right there, Dell.
What? I'm proud of it. If I ain't got age, I'm dead.
And Dell's available if you need some tax advice.
Yeah, my card is on the sheet. I work at the H&R Block in Shorewood. So,
You want me as your
yeah, you know what? I would like to see you. Let's break this down.
Now I'd like to introduce Susan Holman, who is our next speaker.
We're supposed to pass out the microphone. Thank you. Do you specialize in real estate people?
I do.
I
do. They are because I'm
Do we not commit any tax violations?
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, okay. How does this little thing work? Over here so they can hear me?
That doesn't make us hear you, it makes the camera.
Oh, okay, good. Yay, I'm so happy to hear that. I love that. Ooh, off we go.
So are we just starting to record now?
So if you hear
It'll kick me out. Well, it's afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Susan Holman with Eye to Eye Consulting.
I'm an interpersonal communication and sales skill coach, and I'm honored and I'm privileged to be here today. Thank you, Mike, for the invitation to come and present. There's nothing more that I like to talk about except networking and prospecting and selling. Whoa! I love to talk about that. And I have been a professional in sales for, oh my gosh, going on my 45th year. It was not my first selection of career. I went to college, I went to graduate school, grew up right here in Joliet, Illinois. Left, everybody leaves Joliet and ends up coming back in some way, shape, or form, somewhere along the line. Moved back here in '88 after running a $9 million facility for Northwestern University in Evanston and making a career change after doing that for 6 years to Mary Kay Cosmetics. And went all the way to the tip of the top in Mary Kay, and I'm a retired senior national sales director from Mary Kay. We have to go at 65. So I became an S Corp at about 15 years into my career in Mary Kay, and I was active with the company for 38 years. And when I started in Mary Kay, they told us get a good CPA. And I still have the same CPA, who's an amazing individual who's from Orland, who guided me through my whole career and then on to now this career as I'm building a second business in Eye-to-Eye Consulting. So yes, I became an S Corp, and that was a smart thing to do. So I'm excited to be here today to talk about networking and prospecting and building your pipeline and filling your funnel. Aren't you excited about that? Whoa, I know you're just jumping out of your skin. So how many of you are relatively new as real estate professionals? Okay, really? Okay, good. All right. So we've got seasoned real estate professionals here, so I don't want to bore anybody. I do want to talk a little bit about the psychology of networking. We all think it's all about, like, where do I find the people, and how do I get them in the pipeline, and how do I convert them in my funnel, and then how do I convert them to a sale, and then how do I conduct my customer service as I'm, working with those individuals that are in my client base. But the beginning of networking is all about your mindset. Where's your head? Where is your heart? Is your heart over the bar? Are you all in? Because if you're not all in, you're not in at all. That is so important. I always say, you can't be a little pregnant. You're either totally committed, invested, and over the bar, and you're excited and you're in for the game, or you're not. And if you're not, networking, prospecting, building that pipeline, it becomes a chore, and we never want that to be a chore, because I always start every workshop and I say life and business is all about relationships, 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 and some more relationships. And if you are a sales professional, you are all about relationships, because we know that people want to do business with people that they are in relationship with, and they want to do business that they believe and perceive are people like them. So that's an alignment. I'm going to talk a lot about alignment today. Are you aligned with your client base? Very, very important. I always do my homework, and for real estate, for all business professionals who engage heavily in networking and prospecting, 20% of your working hours should be dedicated to networking and prospecting, 20%. So if you work 50 hours a week, and as independent contractors a lot of times, 50 hours a week is a light week, right? We work until the job is done. We don't work 9 to 5. I'm working with this young woman who's a photographer, and I said, when do you go to work? And she told me. I said, how many hours a day do you work? 4. I'm like, okay. Going to take a little bit of time to build that business, right? If we're working 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, that we can do the math. But your time frame when you're building your business, you should be spending approximately 20% or 1 to 2 hours a day if you're already established in your business in networking and prospecting. It's a never-ending chore. I never see it as a chore. That's the wrong word. I love it. I'm going to a networking event tonight, but the bottom line is we're constantly doing that. Ultra high performers, UHPs, say that they invest a lot of time in networking and prospecting and relationship building their social capital, right? Building their social capital. And that's very, very important in engaging in our commerce, which is relationship commerce. It's just like investments. When you invest in people, when you invest in relationships, the relationships pay you back. They pay you back. Another one of my mantras always is always be prospecting, ABP, always be prospecting, because we never know where our next client is coming from. So my question is to you, as a seasoned sales professional, where have you met some individuals that you've done business with, that you've brought into your network and into your pipeline and then through your funnel, and you've actually either listed a house for them or sold a house, listed. Where have you met that person that you never expected you were going to meet that person?
Everywhere.
Thank you. Everywhere. You know, it's interesting. I always say in sales and in networking and prospecting, make everybody your friend. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to be your friend, but you want to make everybody your friend. So what does that mean? Do you have a name tag? I wear my name tag a lot everywhere. But when I'm out conducting my day-to-day life, if I'm going through the checkout at Meijer, or if I'm in, I don't do Starbucks anymore, I'm a snob. Now I do the upscale coffee shops, like if I'm in 10 Drops or Sparrows. But the bottom line is, if you have a name tag on, the first thing I'll say to that person is, good morning, Christina, how are you today?
Okay, I'm doing good, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being just so wonderful for me here today, and making sure that I'm getting my oat milk and my decaf latte super hot, because I just have to have it super hot, right? Christina, that's a beautiful name. Do you go by Christina? Do you go by Tina? Christine, that's beautiful. So I make everybody my friend. Now, did you notice when I introduce myself, I say my name twice? Why do I say that?
So they can remember it.
Thank you. Imprint, imprint, imprint. And then when they tell me their name back, I repeat their name. Why do I do that? Imprint, imprint, imprint. But I'm going to tell you 5 things psychologically that every single one of you, and myself included, when we meet a person for the very first time, so remember this in networking and imprinting and building your client base, when you look at me and I look at you, internally, subconsciously, I'm saying inside, does she like me? Will she affirm me and recognize me as the human being? Is she really listening to me? Is she really hearing what I'm saying? The 4th thing is, I'm saying to myself, do I trust her? And the 5th thing, which we know in sales, which is the big one, right? Is she going to fill my need? Because if I'm going to enter into a relationship with you, if I'm going to build social capital with you, if I'm going to, become in a relationship with you, if I'm going to be in your pipeline, am I really want to be in relationship with this person? So you think that when you meet a new person, I think that when I meet a new person, and it's subconscious. We're not stopping and going, well, will she like me? Is she going to affirm me? Is she really listening to me? No, it's subconscious, but these are deep human needs, and people are thinking these. So as you're engaging with people and you're developing relationship, you're thinking that and that person's thinking that. So how can we, as communicators, how can we as imprinters, how can we as sales professionals who are seeking to develop our relationships, seeking to design that pipeline and bring those individuals with us, so eventually, because let's be honest, eventually we seek to do business with them. Am I filling their need? Is this happening? So that's going on all the time. Isn't that wild and crazy and kind of exciting? You're like, no, I don't think so. But very, very, very important. So do you have a documented or a structured calendar for your networking? Do you know, I'm going to talk about the how, so I'll talk a little bit more about that, but do you have a structured plan for networking and for prospecting, that you know exactly what you're going to do, how you're implementing that? I'm a face-to-face networker. You can tell by my generation, and one of the books I'm going to recommend to you is by Tim Elmore, and it's about a new type of diversity, and what that book is about is he talks about all the different generations, and now we're up to 6 generations that are living and working in the marketplace right now. How old are you?
25.
Oh, there you go. 25. Okay, you're 25. He just turned around. I don't need to embarrass you. How old? Do you mind sharing, Christine?
54.
54. Okay.
34.
34. Oh, they're all in the room. They're all in the room. I'm a baby boomer. I'm 71 years old. I was born in 1954. I'm a baby boomer. Okay. So here's something very interesting about all these different generations. And as a sales professional, you want to be cognizant of this, especially if you're working with buyers and sellers. The way that I make a decision is different than the way you're going to make a decision. What's important to you is not important to me. And I mean, that's probably pretty obvious because of where I'm at in my life. I'm at the point of, people say, you're still in that big house. We've been there for 25 years, right? Everybody's out of here. And all of my friends, usually the minute everybody's out of there, they put that for sale sign and they're out of Tamarack, But we're there. We like our house. We're going to stay there till we want to stay there, right? But you're going to make a decision differently than I'm going to make a decision. And we need to understand how that works. And if you get that book by Tim Elmore, there's a great chart in there. All you really need is the chart. And it tells you how different generations make different decisions, what's important to them, how they function. And that's really, really helpful when you're networking and you're building your pipeline and you're working with individuals. You're going to buy a house differently than I would. It's just the way we think. And talking about, and I'm going to allude to that in a little bit, you know, as you're building this network, and we're going to talk about the how and the different ways that you're going to build it, I was thinking about some individuals that I know that are in the area and how they utilize and how they integrate into these different kind of demographics. So one of them, do you know Ann Blair with RE/MAX? We know Ann from the chamber. She is a senior real estate specialist and has that designation, and that's her primary market, that she works with individuals that I would call empty nesters, like people who are like me, or people that there's been a death in the family, or she's like the Queen of Carillon over there of Weber, and they actually have moved to Carillon. They actually have left Plainfield, sold their house in Wallen Woods, and they've moved to Carillon. But she started really farming that demographic and farming that specific community, but farming that demographic because she sells outside of Carillon as well. And that's a specific and micro-focused way that she's growing her client base. So, and she has multiple different designations. So understanding that. And then when you look at younger real estate professionals, no mortgage person? Oh, you're a lender. Okay, that's why you turned red. You're the lender. Okay. So are you our youngest? Who's youngest behind 25 here? You're 34. You're young too, but
I'm 35.
35. Okay, I guess we jumped from 20s to the 30s. Okay, that's great. But you know, when I think I lost my train of thought, then you can tell I'm 71 years old, and there's the baby boomer going on there. But so when you're looking at how younger professionals are advertising, how they're out there in the space, it's going to be a lot different than how Anna's out there in the space, right? Different things. So Anne's not that old? No, she's in her 50s. Oh, and she's in her 50s, right? So, well, you know, I could be her mother, but that's, you know, everything's relative. I love her dearly. We're good friends. So,
well, they listen differently. You know, the different age groups, they listen differently.
Absolutely, positively, unequivocally.
The level is different.
It is.
You know, to sit there and listen to the conversation is different.
So my youngest son and his wife, like a year and a half ago, they moved to Carmel, Indiana from Ann Arbor because she's in her residency. She's a physician. And they bought a house. And, you know, talking to them buying that house, I just said to my husband, just shut your mouth. They're driving their own ship, and you know, they're adults, and they're buying a house. And you know, some of the things that we would have done if we were buying a house, they didn't do. I think they were just so eager and so excited to be able to go and buy that house that they did. And then when they bought the house, it's like, oh, ooh, and we're like, well, didn't you like check that out before you bought the house? You know, like we would be over there with like a fine-tooth comb. No, but anyway, they own the home. It's their home. They're paying the mortgage, and it's a cute little house. Little stories on that. So did you know there's psychological principles of networking, right? Why do we network? Why do we network psychologically? Pardon me?
For business?
Well, yes, that is a psychological need. We want to make sure that we're our career advancement, that's part of it. Relationships, bottom line, right there, circled in blue. It's all about relationships, relationships, relationships. Did you know the more diverse and connected your network, the more opportunities you have. So the more diverse and connected you are in your network, the more diverse opportunities you have coming to you. People, of course, network to start and grow relationships. Achievement, seek success and recognition. Power, gaining influence, right? We want to gain influence. Affiliation, they want to build a center of community and they want to have affiliation. Career advancement. Knowledge sharing, that's what we're doing here today. Knowledge sharing, very, very important. Resource access, building your reputation. When you're having a tough day, emotional support, right? It's always good to have somebody who can give you some emotional support, who's in your network, who's in your space, who's in your sphere, because they've had the same life experiences within that sphere that you've had. If you've been a sales professional for quite a while, and then you've got a individual who has not been in sales, and been a real estate professional for a while or been in sales, there can be some lumps and bumps, right? There can be some challenges, but if you've overcome that, you can be an emotional support to someone else, which is really great. Let's talk about the commerces. We all know what e-commerce is, right? E-commerce is selling our products and our services online. M-commerce is selling from a mobile device. I mean, I believe we're all mobile businesses today. As long as you have your phone and you've got your computer, you're a mobile business. You can do business anywhere. We're not restricted in any way, shape, or form. But that big R commerce, that relationship commerce, that It's so important to grow relationships because business is all about relationships, relationships, relationships.
It's so hard because everyone wants to text and email, you know, you don't have that personal connection nowadays, like you used to.
Well, you know what? It's finding spaces and places where we can have that personal connection, and it's also learning, and I am not the queen of social media. I will refer you to my wonderful social media woman that I hired because that's not my space and my place. Face-to-face is my space and my place, but I know I have to be out there because I can't be a dinosaur. I have to be a hybrid, and I have to be in both spaces, face-to-face space as well as out there in my social media space. And we are developing relationships that way as well. But it's not the same when you're used to doing what I call press the flesh. And to me, networking is a press the flesh business if you really want to have that rock solid foundation. But you know, people will dispute me on that. But I'm showing my age when I talk about that. Today, we're all about relationship marketing and consultative selling today. It's all about relationship, relationship, relationship. But that our commerce, you know, UHPs, ultra high performers, they're going to say, man, I am heavily invested in developing my relationships and maintaining my relationships and being engaged in my relationships. I'm sure that each and every one of you are super busy. Are you super busy doing things where you're engaged with outside entities to grow your business? If you're not, you're probably going to need to be that way in order to have more people get to know you. People will say to me, are you everywhere? People have said that to me, are you everywhere? And I go, no, I'm not everywhere, but I know how to be strategic where I'm at, and I know how to connect the dots. And that's really, really important, and we're going to talk about that too, and that's all part of developing your network. So the other night, here's just one of the how you align your dots, right? So I'm a member of AABA, African American Business Association. It's an organization, it's an offshoot of the Joliet Chamber. I'm a member of the Plainfield-Sherwood Chamber of Commerce. I'm a member of the Naperville Chamber of Commerce, right? So how many of you are members of Chamber of Commerce? No? No? Okay, well, I'm a big proponent of chambers of commerce, but also different kind of organizations that you can get engaged in. So I'm an AABA. I teach at JJC, but I also do work with EB&C, which is the Entrepreneurial Business Center. And last Monday night, AABA and EB&C were having a meeting downtown at JJC. And I looked at that on my calendar and went, I will be at that meeting. Because it's an alignment of 3 pillars in my business of how I network, develop relationships. And I was at that meeting. So was I tired at 4 o'clock on Monday and saying, I really kind of wish I could stay home and go sit by my pool, which is still open because it's been 80 degrees. But, you know, I went, nope, I'm going to that meeting because it's a strategic, you know, like the planets in conjunction, there's 3 planets coming together. I need to be there. So knowing strategically how you engage in different organizations and how you utilize that and how you leverage that in your commerce, right? How do you leverage those relationships? Very, very important. Social capital is a network or a relationship among people who live and work in the same sphere. And we definitely want to be focused on that, very much want to focus on that. So those are some of the whys why we do it. And, you know, when we're growing our social capital, what are some of the attributes we want to bring into that relationship building that we want to exemplify? What would be some of the attributes that we would want to bring in when I'm seeking to create relationship with you?
Reliable.
Ding, 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 ding. That's really good. Reliable. What else?
Informative?
That's good. Good communicator, right? You want to be a good communicator. You want to be a transparent communicator. The big one in relationships. The big one. Trust. If there is not trust in a relationship, you've got nothing. And in a selling interaction especially, if that client does not trust you, nothing's going to happen. So it has to all be about being trustworthy. And we do know as well, we are our brand 24/7, right? You are your brand 24/7. You need to be you and who you are, and your ethics and your transparency and your trustworthiness in every single interaction in your life. Because if you're not, it'll show and it'll crack. So who are you? Are you the same person if there's 100 people in the room, or there's, you know, just you in the room? Are you the same human being? Very, very important. Nurturing, empathy, that's very, very important in our social capital. And being able to maintain and nurture long-term relationships? How are you at being able to maintain and nurture long-term relationships? Are you good at that? Hope so. So let's talk a little bit about the how. I'm all about nuts and bolts, right? I'm a nuts and bolter. I'm a worker bee, nuts and bolter. I have a little social skill checklist here that I brought. If you haven't done this and you want to take like 2 minutes to do it, it's not brain surgery. Relationships are built on how we interact with another individual based on our EQ. Oh, I've got plenty of them. Yep, let me get you. Our EQ, which is our emotional intelligence, and our, we need one more.
There's one right here.
There's one, okay. You're going to be using these skills every time you're developing your network, when you're prospecting, and when you're working with your clients, right? You're going to be utilizing these skills. So this is a little roadmap for you to run on. It's a way to say, ooh, well, maybe I better work on my listening skills, or maybe I should learn to be a little bit more effective in this space. It's just a little roadmap to run on. And none of us are perfect. None of us are going to get, the highest score in every single one of them. I have a networking class coming up at Joliet Junior College on the 28th of October, and I'm a big proponent of understanding what your personality type is, and then how your personality type translates into your communication style, which is critical. And then, what is your listening? Are you a good discerned listener? So I have a couple of assessments that I do in that class. It's fun, it's just and all that, but it's really understanding you as a human being and you and how you communicate, and what tools are in your communication toolbox, and where you need to, polish up a little bit, tweak a little bit, so you can be more effective in communication. Because developing relationships, networking, prospecting, it's all about communication and relationship. So that's one of the things that I offer in that class, as well as how to introduce yourself. How do you work with your communication tools? Really, really important. So as we're finishing up there, I have a question to ask you, because we're coming into the how. How do you do this? So right now, who would be willing to share, what are you doing in your current networking and prospecting process that's working for you? What are you doing currently in your current networking and prospecting process, or on your calendar that you're implementing as an individual, that's working for you to drive individuals into relationship with you, that are driving people into pipeline with you? Who would like to share what you're doing that you're really excited about and it's working for you? Mike?
Just meeting people in person. So many people just want to talk on the phone. I always feel better if I'm in person with somebody.
Right. And do you know why you feel better if you're in person?
Because we can see each other and read off each other's feelings.
Ding, 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 ding. Absolutely. When I'm talking to you through a Zoom screen, or if I'm talking to you on the phone, and a whole different kettle of fish. But if I'm in your presence, wow, I'm using all the tools in my toolbox. When we communicate, what people believe is that the words coming out of my mouth are like, they're just diamonds, and you just want to hear them all. And actually, they don't. They only hear about 7% of the words that are coming out of your mouth. But your body language is 55% of the interaction, 55% of communication. So when you're sitting across the table from somebody, you can hold eye contact. You can use your body as a communication tool. You can interact and you can impact. Here's another key. I'm Susan Holman with Eye to Eye Consulting.
Nancy Valley with Exit Real Estate Specialist.
Nancy,
Nice
such
to meet
a
you.
joy to meet you. Do you see this right here? My ability to communicate with her just went up 80%. I can't shake your hand on a Zoom screen, but I can shake your hand right here. Hi, I'm Susan Holman with Eye to Eye Consulting, and my ability to communicate with you just went up 80%.
Another thing about meeting in person, so many people want to text and everything. I don't like typing. So when I talk to people, I let them know that, because you cannot read emotion in there.
You can't.
And I'll just send a message, hey, I need your last 3 pay stubs and a bank statement or whatever. And it's just a quick text. It's not, hi, how you doing? What's happening in your day today? But when we're in person, we can do that.
Right.
I don't mind talking.
Right.
I hate typing.
Right. Generational,
So it
right?
always sounds like you're short, quick, curt.
Although when you get to know people, you can really tell when they're like the other day I was texting with my daughter-in-law, and I knew immediately when she zipped back that she's having a bad day. She's a high D. I know her communication style. And she had sent out this text, and she said, hey, I'm going to have all the grandparents together for Ashlyn's birthday on the week from Saturday, da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. And I texted back and I said, oh, well, I'm coming home from Danville that day, but that's not a big deal. But I said, Robbie and Kaylee are coming in because Robbie's running the marathon the next day. And I said, can they come too? To which my husband goes, he's not really want to go to Chicago the night before he runs the marathon, whatever. But anyway, so immediately she texts back and she goes, I'll find another date. I mean, I could just hear her voice in that text because I know how she communicates, and she's a high D, and she's like this, and I'm like, oh, well, she's not having a good day. And later she actually texted me back and said, sorry, it's crazy at work, this is happening, and I'm going, yeah.
But then the difference is, like what you were saying, if you have prospective clients that are younger, that's their automatic mode of communication.
Right, it is.
But if you're dealing with the seniors from Caroline or whatever,
right, they want to be.
We feel like that.
So the biggest thing is asking, how do you want to be?
Correct. How do you like to be communicated with? That's the most important thing.
I text all the time. I just said I don't like it.
How do you?
All the time, and I email. The hardest part is I just read something. Where did I read it?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Was it an email? Was it a text? And the thing is, with an iPhone, it converts all of your voicemails to text. So then I'm looking in my text, I'm looking at my email, and it's like, I know I read this. Where did I read it?
Well, that is very challenging in terms of communication, just an offside on that, because when you think about on your phone, oh my gosh, like I have multiple emails, right? It's like crazy. It's just crazy. I have multiple emails. I've got Messenger. I've got WhatsApp. I've got, texting. I've got all the social media platforms. It's crazy. Group Up, whatever that one. I had to put that one on there when I was working with some young adults from Naperville High School through the Naperville Chamber. That's the way they wanted to communicate, so I had to go into that. So checking that when you sit down at your desk every day to start your business day, you got to check all that. You got to check all that. I mean, it's so much different than in the olden days when it was just one or two ways that you were working. And sometimes I feel like a chipmunk in the wheel that I'm just trying to, keep up with all that going on. But anyway, so are there any challenges that you're having in networking right now, separate and apart from generational, when we know that we have to be adaptive to the generation? That's why I get Tim Elmore's book, it's really good, that we have to be adaptable to the generations that we're working with so we know how to communicate with them, and that's really good, Mike, what you said. Ask people how they want to be communicated with. That's really critically important because everybody's different. But separate and apart from that challenge, any other challenges as you're seeking to meet people, engage with people, move them through your pipeline, through relationship building, and then into your funnel?
I think in general, just getting people to show up. People love Zoom.
Oh, I know. Isn't that crazy?
Zoom and are like, okay, I don't have to leave my house again.
Mm-hmm.
And I know any, here with attending, just getting some, just get in your car, drive there, and that I think is probably one of our biggest struggles.
We have bounced back a bit from Zoomomania. As the further we get away from the good old pandemic, I do see there is definitely a movement out there for networking groups, people coming back together face to face, people seeking to have individuals come back to meetings, like physically come back to meetings. But you're not going to get all people out of their house anymore because they had that opportunity and they like it. If you offer the Zoom option, I was talking to, I don't work a lot with Mary Kay people, but she was one of my Offspring directors when I was active, and she's a sharp young woman, and she's out in Connecticut. I was talking to her yesterday, and she goes, in the fall, we usually do these advances we were talking about as real estate professionals. Like, this is like a little advance for you today where you come together for, to educational. And she goes, I only have 27 people that are coming, and I finally, out of default, said, okay, I'll do it on Zoom as well. I'll have both options just so I could get more people there. And that's really frustrating, but then she's trying to facilitate and engage with as many people as she possibly can. And she's a young person. She's only 40. She's a young person. So, okay, so those are the challenges, getting people to people to come. You know, I know that, and I've noticed it a lot in my own subdivision and when I drive around, that open houses are getting bigger and bigger for real estate professionals. Again, they're coming back. So when you're holding an open house, are people coming out to the open houses? What are you finding in terms of individuals coming through that space? Are they coming to the open houses? Good, so they are coming back. They're coming to the open houses. That's a good thing. And then, of course, I'm sure you're capturing their information, right? You're absolutely capturing their information. So critically important. So, okay, here's the next best point, target market. First of all, do you know, as a sales professional, what your unique value proposition is as a sales professional? What are you selling? What is your brand story? Do you know what makes you unique? What makes you unique? If I said to Nancy, what makes you unique as a sales professional in real estate?
Oh, you really want to answer?
Yeah, yeah. I'm asking you, Nancy.
I am a professional problem solver.
She's a professional problem solver. Excellent. She knows her unique value proposition. And with that unique value proposition, how do you convert that into your brand story, and how are you selling it out there when you're creating relationship with people?
So I tell them a little bit about my history so that they understand. So it makes me sound more, it gives me my expertise, level of expertise, because I spent 20 years as a 911 telecommunicator.
Ooh.
So I problem solve.
You can put fires out quickly, right? So
quickly.
Okay.
So I bring that knowledge and expertise into real
Wonderful.
estate. And that's
So where do I see that? When you're telling that brand story, where am I seeing that? Am I seeing that on social media? Am I seeing that in a face-to-face interaction? If I went to your social media right now, would I see you telling that story?
not as well as you should be communicated.
Okay, because that's an impactful story, right? Because a lot of times, most of the time, when you go to buy a house, right, it's never what you think it's going to be. It always becomes a different journey than what you thought it was going to be when you're buying the journey, right? When you're starting out on the journey. So you're a problem solver, so you know what your unique value proposition is. Now, the next question is, if you know what your unique value proposition is as a professional in sales, and then who is your market? Who are you marketing to? Who are you marketing to? Who's your target market? Who's your micro-focus market? It just can't be everybody who wants to buy or sell a house, or everybody who wants to buy or sell commercial property. That's way too broad. Now, we do know there's always going to be outliers. I mean, if you're a real estate professional and somebody calls you up and says, hey, Christina, my daughter and her son, you know, they want to buy their first house, can you help them? And you specialize in, you know, empty nesters, you're not going to say, no, can't help them, no, 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 no. You're going to say, yeah, you know, sure. But what is your micro market? Who are you focused on? Who do you want to do business with? Because if you don't know who you want to do business with, number one, you're not going to go find them. And they're not going to come find you. So 1,000 years ago, my one sister-in-law, she had lived with this gentleman for many years. She didn't think it was right. She split up with him. She was, you know, looking for her future husband. And she said, I said to her, well, do you know what you're looking for? Did you make a list? She goes, no, and I'm like, well, if you don't know what you're looking for, and you don't have, you know, a list of what you want in a future husband, when he shows up, you're not going to recognize him. So she just looked at me. I said, make a list. What do you want that person to be? She actually did that, and she was a flight attendant for United, and she actually met her husband on a flight. Yep. And, you know, and after she made the list, right? But she's like, okay, I'm looking for a husband. Well, what are you looking for? Okay, very, very important. So real estate-wise, who are you looking for? Who's your target market? Who are you after? Because you can't market, interact, build a network and a relationship and throw 1,000 people into your pipeline. You'll be exhausted and dead on the side of the road because you're not micro-focused. So who's your market?
I'm a senior real estate specialist.
There you go. There's your market. Where's your market? Who's your market?
Probably low income.
Probably. Is that where everything's focused, to low income?
First-time home buyers.
First-time home buyers, okay, so now it's diversifying, okay? So low income and first-time home buyers, okay, and that's your target, and that's where you're focusing all your time, your effort, your energy in building your social capital, building your relationships, bringing those people into your pipeline, okay? And why would they want to do business with you?
Why?
She educates.
Yeah.
She educates
She's
them.
the warmest person.
Yeah.
I mean, when we should play this
She
game, like,
educates them.
If you are down, she pulls you in, gives you all the tips.
Yeah.
Wow.
Move on with your day.
They're being nice.
No.
No!
birthday. Don't birthday.
And she hit me.
I'm gonna hit you upside the head!
And I'm older than you now.
Oh! But not much, I'm sure. You know, one thing that makes me a crazy person, and I'm off target, I get on my thing, but you know, we as human beings, if we're not our own best self-advocate, well, you got a whole cheering crew here, they are advocating for you, but we have to believe that about ourselves, and most importantly, we have to understand how to sell ourselves for that, and if we're not selling ourselves for our expertise, we've got a problem, and we need to know how to do that, and then we need to know where to find those people. So, you know, and I didn't mean to be rude or anything with that,
Oh,
but
no, we want you to bring the blame. We were talking about that. We didn't want to be bored. So
I hope you're not bored. So, you know, so very, very important. So, number one, do you know your unique value proposition? Number two, do you know what your market is? That's so incredibly important. You cannot toss oatmeal at the wall. Bull. You know, that makes me crazy. And I don't care what the business is. When people, you know, I'm working with this young woman, she's a photographer, and she did know her target market, but we kind of, she wants to do weddings. Okay, that's fine. But sometimes they'll say, well, I just want to take pictures. I just love to take pictures, so I just want to take pictures. Well, do you want to take pet pictures? Do you want to take baby pictures? Do you want to take couple pictures? Do you want to do weddings? Do you want to do family pictures? Do you want to do, you know, like the people that come and take all the pictures for the houses you're going to put on the market? What kind of pictures do you want to do, right? Okay, so very, very important. So we need to know who we are, what we are, and where we're going, and who is your ideal quality prospect? Who's your IQP? Who's your ideal quality prospect? Because if you don't know who they are and they walk in front of you, you're in trouble because you won't see them, right? And then you won't orchestrate your time, your effort, and your energy in terms of networking, whether it's face-to-face, in the appropriate places to meet those people, and then most definitely your social media is going to be a mess. So you have to know, and I'm not a social media person. I certainly suggest and recommend that you work with somebody who is a social media person. I can give you a recommendation to the woman that I hired. She's really great, because that's not what I like to do. I like to go out and press the flesh, right? But you have to have that profile. But you also have to make sure that your brand story is impactful in your social media. If you're working with younger, low income, what platforms are they going to be working on in social media? Are you on those platforms? If I'm working with empty nesters or seniors, what platforms? They're not going to be on TikTok most of the time, so don't be on TikTok, right? They're probably going to be on Facebook, probably Instagram. YouTube is really, really powerful, so you need to know what your social media platforms are. Where are you going to find your people? You got to know where your people are. You know, you're mining. This is all part of growing the network, growing the relationships, getting that pipeline going. You're mining. So you're a gentleman who is a professional with Edward Jones. Where do you look for your clients, and who's your target market?
So target market are families and business owners in mainly transition or in a growth phase. So
Okay,
that's
transition in a growth phase.
families, if they're transitioning, they've got a lot of moving pieces.
Mhm.
How do we help consolidate and simplify their lives?
Mhm.
And business owners, as they're on a growth trajectory, how do we help them with their tax conversations? Do we put them in the right investments? Do we do retirement plans for them? All of these things to help them really build wealth.
Mhm. And where do you specialize, like you?
My background is primarily in intergenerational wealth transfer. But
Okay.
you have to build it first.
Right.
So we started the pipeline into that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I try to avoid Illinois estate taxes for higher net worth clients. So
And that's all very important,
that's my
especially.
niche, but
That's your
you
niche.
got to get everybody to have like 4 million individually and 8 million family, and you avoid taxes.
So there you go. You need a financial advisor to get you there if you're not there, right?
You got to get to the problem I solve.
Yeah, and you have to bring the people in to get them to that point. So, okay, so now you're going to set up a plan. How many of you already have a calendar for the way that you network, the way that you connect, the time you spend on doing that, what organizations you're engaged in, where do you spend your time, your effort, and your energy? Do you have a calendar for that? Because that's important, because like I always say with chambers, I could have 3 full-time jobs for the chambers I belong to. I mean, and I don't get paid for any of that, right? So in terms of, you know, the time that you're going to CNNs, or you're going to ribbon cuttings, or you're going to this event or that event, or what, so, you know, knowing on your calendar physically, what organizations do I belong to? What am I contributing to? Where do I believe that I'm going to meet the people I need to meet through those organizations and through those contacts and building that relationship? And then looking at the time when I'm going to be committing my time to that and needing to do that. So tonight, I had some individuals that I coached, and I'm not currently coaching them actively, but I coached them, and they're mortgage people, and they're in Tinley Park. And so I just did a program for the Tinley Park Chamber. So I was over there last week doing for them. There were 65 people there, so I got contacts. And then these people I used to do business with, I used to coach the mortgage people. They're having the CNN for the Tinley Park Chamber tonight, and also Tobias is having it's the birthday party, but it's a CNN for the Tinley Park Chamber. So when I saw the invitation, I'm like, I'm doing this, and then I'm going for another meeting, and then I'm going home, and then I'm going to Tinley Park. Do I really want to drive to Tinley Park tonight? No. But here's the bottom line. Alignment, alignment, alignment. It's a former client. One of the biggest parts of being a sales professional is what do you do with your client after your client's your client? You better be providing golden rule customer service. This is a former client. That former client would refer me to another client, right? So they invited me to an event. I'm going to the event. I just was in front of 65 people from the Tinley Park Chamber. If I want to expand in that area, there's going to be people from that chamber there tonight, more people that I can interact with and I can engage with, and I can build my business through. I got my classes coming up at JJC. They can come right down Interstate 80. Do you see why I'm going there? Do you see the impact of it and how that's going to grow me and grow my business and grow my influence and grow my impact and grow my network? That's what you have to decide. What's going to be most impactful for me to spend my time, my effort, and my energy physically, because we can't be 100,000 places at one time. Mike and I will tell you that. It seems so. We had our ambassador meeting yesterday, and we're ambassadors, so you look at all these things and you're like, and tonight there's a ribbon cutting at 4 o'clock, but I can't be at that ribbon cutting because I already committed to be over in Tinley Park at 5 o'clock, and it's an hour plus drive for me. And it'll be more tonight because it'll be on Interstate 80 and it'll be dinner time. So where are you going to go to be micro-focused on who you want to meet and who you want to build into your network, and when you're going to do it, and how does it fit on your calendar? Because there's only 168 hours in the week. We are in charge of every single one of them, but there's only 168 hours in the week. And then I'll be up tomorrow morning, and I'll be over at the high school because I'm a community champion for the incubator program for District 202. Oh, there's always something going on the next day. So you need to know. So set your goal. Set your goals, get your plan of action in place, get your calendar in place. When you go to work every day and you're spending those 2 hours networking, what are we doing in that networking? How many calls am I making? How many emails am I sending out? How many texts am I sending out? Or whatever else you're mining on the computer when you're looking for lead sources for yourself. Having that all together on a calendar. I'm a systems and a plan person. You have to have a system, you have to have a plan. I hope you all have a plan in place. If you don't, it's time to put a plan in place together so you can get that all put together. I learned this a million years ago in life, and it is so critically important in business, but in your life as well. If you don't remember anything else after you leave here today, remember this. Consistency is your key to success. Consistency is your key to success. Consistency is your key to success. That is one of makes me the craziest woman in the whole world, especially when I'm working with a client and we're doing our mentoring and we have an appointment and we're like this, and then next week, and it's like, if you're like that, you're going to crash and burn. So can you find some consistency in everything that you're doing? And remember, you are in charge of the 168 hours in the week, so you're in charge. One of the greatest things about being an independent contractor is that you have, of course, freedom and flexibility, but you also have ultimate responsibility. I always say that to people. I have been an independent contractor for a long time, since 1981. So with ultimate flexibility comes ultimate responsibility, because if I don't do what I've put into place to do, what's going to not happen at the end of the month? Deposits into my checking account are not going to happen, right? I'm the predicator of my own destiny and the writer of my own paycheck, which I like. I like to work on commission because I like to be in charge of my money. So very, very important. Okay. So just some ideas, because you're all pros here, not new people. We just get we're taking trips emotionally. We only, we phase in and out in 7-minute intervals. Did you know that? So you've all taken some trips here since I've been dancing around and talking and interacting. So how How do you impact your sphere of influence, your SOI? How are you impacting your sphere of influence? How are you reaching out to people you already know? How are you impacting that sphere of influence? How are you mining your database? How are you remaining connected to the individuals that you already know and have already done business with you? Some ideas for that. Do you have a consistent calendar for doing that? Do you send out a newsletter on a monthly basis to your clients? That's really critically important. Do you stay engaged with your clients? I brought this, I wanted to share this with you. I didn't bring multiple copies, so we can pass it around and we can look at it. Dr. Jenny Waltz owns the Welcome Wagon in Plainfield. It is a mobile veterinary practice, and she bought this probably about 4.5 years ago, an underperforming vet. Well, the woman basically was a veterinarian. She was in Naperville. She had an in-home vet business because she wanted to keep her license. She moved, she sold it to Dr. Jenny, and in 4 years, Dr. Jenny has ramped this puppy up to over $2 million business, and she's on the grow and on the go. Currently, they are totally mobile, but they're building out brick and mortar, so they'll be both brick and mortar and mobile. So to work with this woman who I've had the opportunity to work with for 3+ years, and to watch her, she's a brilliant businesswoman. But this is a copy of an email that she sends out. And what I really like about Dr. Jenny is that her brand story is all about, yes, her family, her business, the community, and how she integrates that and how she continually tells the story. And her brand pillars for her brick and mortar that she's opening, and they have been her brand pillars for her business all the way along the line, is that, when you come to me as a veterinarian, we're family. This is a house. This is the Welcome Wagon. You can see that through all of her branding and also her communication. So just take a peek at this, because this is a newsletter she puts out. And here she talks about losing 3 personal pets, but see how she ties that into her brand story and how she actually pitches her business at the end. She is so good at communication. She's so good. And she does a lot of social media as well, and she does a lot of Press the Flesh. We see Dr. Jenny at a lot of different things. So I'm going to just pass it around so you can take a peek at that. That's really, really important. So how are you staying in contact with your database? Here's one of the biggest things. I know you all know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Video, 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 video. Are you using video out there on social media to especially tell your brand story? So very interesting. I got this idea when I was over in Tinley Park, and I thought, I got to tell the group I'm coming to talk to on Thursday, because this is great. So it's a young gentleman who has a video production business, and he says, hey, I want to show you this. He goes, I had a young couple come to me, and you know how when people are getting married, they send out that little postcard with the magnet that says save the date, or they send out the postcard, you're supposed to put it on your refrigerator on the only part that's metal, which is the side now in refrigerators, and save the date, right? He said they wanted me to make a video. So he made a video, a save the date video, and they sent that all out to their sphere of influence for individuals that they were asking to save the date. You know how powerful video is. So with your sphere of influence, your clients, the people that you want to impact, people you haven't done business with, consider doing a video and sending that out to them, because it's so powerful and so impactful. And we know on social media that video is like the primary way to communicate today, right? Do you all have video out there? Are you using video as a way to, okay? So, there's a really great woman right here in Joliet, Sheila White with R2E Media. They actually have an office right over here, and they have a studio on Jefferson Street. They do great video. This young guy I met last week, his stuff looked really good as well. And I'm sure there's individuals engaged that you have alignment with as professionals in real estate that do video, because you use that for your listings and stuff, don't you, as well? So might be a little bit different for the people that are working with you on your listings, but there's video opportunities out there, or you can even just start to make your own videos, which really, really work. I would, send out a video to my sphere of influence. You can reintroduce yourself if you've been in business for a while, if you've never done that, or if you're new in the business, you can use that. Isn't that a great idea? Doesn't that get you excited? Like everybody looks like I'm not excited right now. Oh, I'm a little brain dead. But, impacting your sphere of influence, using your platforms online for lead generation. I'm seeing the signs for open houses, so doing those open houses, that's pressing the flesh. Geographic farming, I live in Tamarack, it's 111th and 59. And do you know who Kim Scott is? She's been around for a long time. She has farmed that community big time, my neighborhood. Also, Jan McKay, she's farmed that as well. A lot of people list with them, but they're always doing things in terms of farming. I know Ann's really farmed Carillon big time. Very, very important. Do you all use a CRM, customer resource management tool? Good, I don't have to talk about that. And if that's how you keep your people all organized, right? And you know who you're working with. Do you slot your people in your CRM as to individuals that you would consider like, you know, they're out there in Antarctica, they're kind of cold. Or you've got people that are in that mid space that, you know, maybe they're going to list or they're going to buy in, you know, 3 to 6 months. And then you've got the people that are active. Do you have your CRM people listed in a way that you know how to implement and engage with them in terms of time frame and where they're at? And you're, okay, good. Don't want to. Oh, here's really, really important. Are you layering your people so they don't forget you and they love you, right? Here, I'm going to share this. So my husband, and this is so important because this is one of the parts that people forget about when they're in sales, when they're developing their relationships and their networking. Once you've done business with somebody, are you staying connected with them? Are you reaching out to them? Are you sending a birthday card? Are you sending a treat? Are you stopping by and dropping things off? So my husband, one of the investment people that he works, investment firms that he works with down in St. Louis, they talk every month, but every year on his birthday, he would get a box of cookies because he loves cookies. So do you know things about your clients like that? They like cookies, so if it's their birthday, you know, give them some cookies or take, you know, something like that. Well, he didn't get his cookies this year. I'm like, somebody dropped the ball. And you know what? I said to him the other day, you didn't get your cookies this year. And he goes, yeah, I didn't get my cookies. He loves cookies. We're talking a lot of money that these people met, right? I'm thinking you can send the box of cookies. And so you're only as good as your last interaction with your client. You're only as good as your last interaction with your client. So love on your clients even when they've been your clients and they've been your customers. And make sure that you're nurturing and layering your people. That's really, really important. Very, very important. A couple things, and then I'm going to finish up here because I think we are all brain dead and we need to finish. So when I was preparing for this, I was driving home because another one of the things that I do, not only when I'm teaching at JJC or COD, is that I'm an adjunct for Eastern Illinois University, and I teach in their degree completion program at Danville Correction Facility. So I'm driving home from Danville. I'll be going down there next week to teach for my October dates, and I'm listening to these podcasts in the car because I was real estate podcasts. So I found this woman. Are you utilizing YouTube? YouTube is huge out there. So her name is Kelly Allen. You can look her up, but she's on this podcast, and she's a real estate agent. And she came out of education. She's only been an agent a few years. Like, so when she's a new agent, she comes out of education. She was a teacher, and she said, I did all this different stuff, but then I decided to start doing videos and post them on YouTube. And she goes, I'm telling you, my first videos were really rudimentary. I looked her up. And she goes, but she started doing, so she has a series on YouTube, and it's if I were to move to Atlanta. And so she, you know, there's a big corporate in and out Atlanta, right? So a lot of people in and out. So she started this video series, if I was going to move to Atlanta, what would I want to know? So what she did is she'd pick different neighborhoods, and she would do a short video on the pros and the cons, who lives there, you know, and she goes, that exploded my business. She goes, it just exploded my business. So there's also a gentleman, I go up to northern Michigan. I grew up in Joliet, but my mother was from Boyne City. So if you know Charlevoix, you know Petoskey, you know that area. Oh, primo, primo, primo. In the winter, there's nothing up there, but you know, big houses on the lake, right? So he started, oh, I'm almost done? Oh, good. 6 minutes? Okay, good. So I was looking up his stuff on Instagram. Are you using Instagram? He's doing YouTube as well on Instagram. But they know the new buzz now in Michigan is along the lake. They're calling it the New Hamptons. So he's all about promoting the New Hamptons. The New Hamptons. So look him up. His name is Gino D'Angelo. He's on YouTube. He's also on Instagram. Gino D'Angelo. He's with Northern Michigan Properties. It's really, really interesting in the way that they're telling the brand story, and then they're bringing people in, right? And they're selling the lifestyle, or they're selling the benefit of the lifestyle. Now, you know, there's people that post the picture, this is my listing, and I have this, and I have that. That's pretty traditional, but very little of this in what we're doing here in terms of selling our brand story to the individuals that we want to bring into relationship, bring into our pipeline, and then have the opportunity to do business with. Do you listen Do you do a blog, or do you listen to podcasts? So it's also another way for people to find out who you are. Isn't that exciting? Okay, as I said, and almost done, to me, networking is a press the flesh business. So if you do not belong to a chamber, find a chamber and join. Networking groups, organizations, Kiwanis, people need to know who you are. Alumni groups, people like to do business with people that they believe are like them. So when you're developing relationship and aligning, I know this isn't new, it hasn't changed. Maybe some of the ways we deliver this has changed, but it's all critically important for you to, develop those relationships and invest in that social capital and that our commerce. We're both ambassadors for the chamber. It takes a lot of time, but is it worth it? I believe it's worth it. I believe it's worth it for the relationships that you develop. Because again, people like to do business with people that they believe are like them and they are in relationship with and they align with. Be active, let people know. Do you create events for your client base or for people you want to attract to you? That's one big thing that I think, like Ann's doing her shredder thing now, or electronic recycling event at Carillon. She's done a come and go up in the Remax balloon. They could go up and you could get the big balloon from Remax and people could come and get a ride in the Remax balloon, right? Okay. I heard you guys talking about your chili cook-off. You have a chili cook-off too? Invite your clients to come to the chili cook-off. Invite your clients or your potential clients to come to the chili cook-off. Do you know somebody who likes to cook? Do you know somebody who likes to eat? Do you know somebody who likes to do tailgating, right? Invite them. Say, hey, Joan, let's go. We're having a chili cook-off. I mean, we have one coming up for the chamber too, and that's always so fun. You get to eat all the chili, and you get to vote to see who's the best chili person. I mean, who made the best chili. And those are events that are already made for you. So you just invite people to come to them. This is another thing, another idea, because I'm full of ideas. Last week when I'm over at the Chinle Chamber at the end, this young gentleman said, and he was in mortgages, and you know what he said? I'm going to be over at Panera today. I have my office hours from 9 to 11 at Panera. I work off so, come on over and meet with me. It's free. I'll buy you a cup of coffee and a bagel, and we can talk anything you need to know about mortgages. You could do that for real estate. Anything you need to know about selling a house or buying a house. Meet me at Starbucks. I'll buy you a cup of coffee, right? We're a mobile business. Take your laptop, go sit at Starbucks for 2 hours, do your job, let people know you're there, and you can use that as a mobile office site. Isn't that a great, cute idea to build things which are really, really good? Client appreciation events, do you do that? And I know you all have do you all have professional partnerships with allied businesses that support you either as a lender or as a real estate professional? When we painted our house, Bruce painted our house from CertaPro. He's not with CertaPro anymore, he sold that. But you know what he said? Well, you have to. He didn't say you have to. He goes, I'm going to send you, okay, I'm going to send you my color consultant. I go, okay. So this woman shows up. It's my neighbor. I didn't even know that Christian Ruiz was a color consultant, but she shows up and helps me pick out the colors to paint the outside of my house. So having those stagers, do you have a relationship with stagers, video people? That's really important because that diversifies networking and relationships, right? So I was doing the Will County United Way golf outing a couple weeks ago at Bolingbrook, and I said to Ken, I don't want to be on the committee, just give me a job. I'll be there, just tell me where to go, I'll do a job. So my job was breakfast, and then my job was to go out to the Hole 10, because I was a Hole sponsor. And here's an interesting thing about networking and connecting on the other side of it. So there's a young woman there, and she's new with Habitat from Humanity. Her name's Claire. And we're talking, and I said, do you have a financial advisor? You need a financial advisor. And she just she's graduated from DePaul. She's talking about her student loans. She's 27 years old. You need a financial advisor. And so I go, well, I have a young gentleman who I coach. Let me refer you to him because you need a financial advisor. And he said to me when I was working with, he goes, I'm meeting Claire. I go, good, I hope it all works. And then I saw her at the internship meeting at District 202 the other day, and she goes, oh, I met with Colin. He was really helpful. I got a plan started. I go, oh, yay. So I was, through relationship, networking and referring, not my services, but networking and referring because of the relationship that I have. So do you see how it all intermixes, it all interacts? And that's what you want. You're going to refer people, people are going to refer to you. That's going to be the reciprocal part of it, but it's really, really important for that. So, okay, any questions?
Northwestern.
I was at Northwestern for 6.5 years, and from 1979 to whatever year I left.
One day advice, birthdays. I call my clients on their birthday. You guys as realtors, maybe they don't know. We know their birthday. I know we can't give, but we can give you a hint and whatnot. Don't just put it on the timeline on freaking Facebook. That shit don't mean anything, pardon my English. It doesn't. It really doesn't. If you just put happy birthday, I don't even know who people wish me happy birthday. I don't know who they are. I really don't. So just a tip, it works. And to your point about the cookies, when I don't call clients on their birthday and when they usually answer, if I'm like 3 days late, they'll say, I thought something happened to you. I didn't get my birthday call.
Oh, people wait for that because they do. So, I applaud you for taking the time to do that because that takes time. And the key with that as well, even if you don't physically speak to someone, because how many of us pick up our voice when it rings these days and age? If you leave a message, it says, I cared enough to call you. I cared enough to call you.
And I think you're amazing because they think you can remember all this.
Right.
Yeah, spreadsheets.
You're so good. You're so good. You're so good. So, okay. Any other questions? Okay.
In terms of your network, would you say it's more important for quantity or quality? You mentioned that it's important to diversify your network, but then again, you're only one person, and you can only tend to so many people at once.
Well, you don't want to you don't want to say so much about quality that you become myopic, right? So you want to have a broader base because, you don't know if you develop a relationship with this individual, and perhaps that individual never uses your services, but perhaps that individual, like me, referred that young woman back to Colin. I mean, we've had our financial advisors for years, so I can't work, I can if I want to, but we're not going to do that. But I could say, hey, let me refer you to, right? So it can be a reciprocal interaction. No, you can't be, you can't have relationships with everybody under the sun, but, don't dissuade one person because, again, we never know. Always be prospecting. We never know where somebody's going to come from, right? Yeah. But that's a really good question. That's a really good question.
That point, the whole thing is you want to be the person that all your clients go to.
Right. You want to be the person.
Regardless of what it is, you want to know something, so all your clients go to you. I'm just going to call John for everything. I had a past client who held a reverse mortgage. She called me about dental implants. You think I have a clue about dental implants? No, and she called me to ask my opinion and who should we go with. Here, this is my dentist face. So that's what you're saying, you may not need them. You may think, how do they fit into my business? Your client may need them at some point in their life.
Right. And when you refer, then you are bonded even more to that client, right? So very, very important. Takeaways for me, so I knew that I did a good job today. Did I bring value and merit into your life today? What are 1 or 2 things that you feel you learned?
I'd like to know what you eat or what you take.
I told you.
Well, that's my whole class about energy. Come to my Joliet Junior College class on October 28th, and I will teach you all about energy. And do you know?
I'm far behind you, but I am not as fast and busy as you.
Oh. So, energy is a choice, and that's a whole other thing. So thank you for that. Any other input for me? Did I bring value today? Because I never want to show up and not bring value. Did you learn something new today? Or did you hear something that you heard before, but you're going to implement it and take it out there? Okay. All of the above. Okay, well, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. As I said, I do have a networking class at Joliet Junior College on October 28th. You all have that little flyer in your little bag. I gave you your ducks to remember when you meet somebody for the very first time. You have 8 to 60 seconds to imprint onto that person. That person imprints onto you, just like the mama duck, baby duck. So very, very important when you're meeting people. Please come to the class at JJC. I love JJC. They underwrite these classes. They're ridiculously inexpensive. And then I offer 2 hours of complimentary coaching for anybody who attends the class to work with people individually to see where your needs, what your needs are, because everybody's at a different place when they walk in the class.